So one of the things that I really love about Turon is that it's something that my mom and I cooked growing up together. And besides it being delicious, there's something so special about food that is, something that brings back memories, food that is culturally super special, and food that you can recreate in your everyday life. Hi, my name is Janelle and you're watching Everyday Jane, where I make videos on simple living with a focus on delicious homemade food, which brings us to today's recipe, which is turon. And if you haven't heard about turon before, it is essentially a banana stuffed in a spring roll. How bad could that be? It's from the Philippines, where I'm originally from, so I'm really excited to show you today. So let's get started. We're going to be using plantain bananas. And this is different from the banana that you would use in the Philippines, which is a saba plantain, which is quite a bit smaller. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of chopping of this banana, this plantain, to be able to kind of mimic the way that looks. So what I'm going to do is chop off the ends of this banana and then slice it right down the middle. This is a trick my mom taught me, is to cut the plantain while the skins are still on, because that's just going to make it a lot easier. And then what I'm going to do is slice this into thirds. Now, you can cut a plantain and wrap it in the spring roll wrapper any way you'd like, but I'm choosing a thinner method so that I can shallow fry instead of deep fry the plantain. And what you can see is now we've still got some skin on the plantain, so I'm going to just peel that right off, and it comes off really easily. What's awesome about this recipe is that it's just so easy. It's plantains, sugar, and a pre-made wrapper. While you can make your own homemade wrapper, it's just so much easier to buy store-bought, and that's actually the way that I did it growing up with my mom in the kitchen. So I'm gonna continue doing this, and then our next step will be wrapping our plantain, and I'll show you how we do that. All right, so now I have these plantains. They're all chopped up and ready to be wrapped. I have my store-bought spring roll wrappers underneath a wet kitchen towel and on a plate, just because these things dry out really, really easily. So I've already separated. They come all attached, and you have to peel them one by one. And this is what they look like. They're really thin sheets, and we'll be wrapping our turon in these, which is very exciting. Okay. So the way that we wrap the turon is you have one of the corners of the square facing you. And what you also want to do is make sure that you have your other components ready, which is just some brown sugar. In order to make maybe 12 turon, you probably want to be using about a 1/4 cup of sugar. A lot of the time, you'll notice that you use a lot of sugar for turon, or the ones that you buy in the restaurants, but I'm my mother's daughter, and we try to use a little bit less turon because the banana or the plantain is already very, very sweet. So now we've got the brown sugar in a bowl, and one other part that I want to show you, in order to seal the turon at the end, you want to create a little bit of a paste, so sort of a water and flour slurry. So it's really simple, just about that much flour. I'd say 2 teaspoons of flour with a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of water. All right, so back to our turon here. Again, the wrapper's facing you, and I laid my beautiful plantain on the turon, maybe about 2/3 of the way down. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of sugar here. You can use more or less, whatever you prefer, but I think that's about perfect for me. And I'm going to pull the corner over just so that it wraps over the turon. And you want to create a little bit of tension here, but not too much tension so that it rips just like that. But if it rips for you, that's okay. That's going to be tucked right under anyway. So we do that, and then the sides come in. So you just wrap it up like a little burrito, essentially. Okay, and then what you want to do is take the whole thing and roll it up. And then you want to roll it again Perfect, and now you have a little bit of exposed edge here. And what I do is I just take my finger in the flour and water slurry, just like this, and moisten the edge. Flip it over. In terms of the ripeness of the plantain, it's really hard to tell, but when the skins are beautifully yellow without any more green and a speckling of black, that's when you want to use plantains for Turon. That's when they'll be perfectly sweet. So now we have our Turon all wrapped up and ready to be fried. And speaking of fried, this is going to be a shallow fry. It's not really characteristic of a lot of other spring rolls or even Turon themselves, which are typically deep fried. So here I have my olive oil, and it really just depends on the size of your pan. For mine, you'll notice it's pretty large cast iron pan, so I'm gonna use about a quarter cup of oil, but for you, just enough to cover the bottom of your pan. I've got my pan preheating at about a medium heat. You don't want this scorching hot, but you can see there's just a little bit of smoke coming out. I might actually just turn mine down a little bit. So I'm gonna put my first spring roll in, and hopefully there's a little bit of a sizzle. Okay, that's perfect. Keep it on a nice steady heat until the bottom is nice and golden brown, golden to darker brown. I like it quite crispy. Oh yeah, do you see that color? That beautiful golden brown, and the sugar has slightly seeped out there. Don't be scared, that's the way Turon is supposed to be. Look at these guys. Oh, perfect. Whew. This is getting me excited. A bit hungry too. Okay, so I'm gonna take these out and put it on a wire rack lined sheet tray because they are looking ready and they are piping hot, so be very careful. All right, everyone. Here we have them. These are the finished Turon. They've cooled. I've plated them up and I'm really ready to dig in. So this is the simplest way that you can make them, really 3 ingredients, but you can really jazz it up. I think that like a sprinkling of flaky salt, once they come right off the hot pan, would be wonderful. You can dunk this in chocolate sauce. You can sprinkle cinnamon all over the top. Whatever you want, you can do with these because it is a great canvas. But me personally, I like it this way. I like it simple. I like it the way that I'm used to. I like it the way that my mom makes. It's crazy how, you turn into your mom eventually. So I'm gonna try this for you. I've also got my coffee because that's the perfect complement to any sweet treat. And I'll dig in. You can hear that crunch, right? The plantain is so soft, perfectly cooked, and the outside is crispy, not just because of the flaky pastry, but also because of the sugar that's sort of caramelized a little bit on the outside, which is so special, so good. Please try this at home, and I'll see you in another video for more recipes.